Cheers, I do, Buckaroos, and how the heck are you? You know who I am. I'm Tom the Beer Whisperer, and I'm here with a friend a brewer friend out in California, Herbie or Brian Herbertson out there. How you doing, man?
I'm good, Tom. How you doing, bud?
Not too bad. So I've got a beer from a brewery I work at part time called Banter Brewing, and it is from their statement series called One Evolution. It's a barley wine aged in toasted white oak at 11%. Let me show that to you.
Okay.
So what do you got from your neck of the woods?
So we just released this. I don't know, probably 3 weeks ago, but we've got this West Coast Pilsner called Season of the Pills collaboration we did with a brewery called Bearded Tang out of Orange County, and they won a few GABF and World Beer Cup awards, and they're friends of mine, and so we made this kind of hobby pilsner, and yeah, it's hitting nice here in the
The heat?
California heat. Yeah,
Right.
it's roasting out here right now.
So tell me about the brewery that you work for.
So I'm director of brewing operations slash head brewer slash lead grunt of Lucky Luke Brewing Company, um, which originated out of Palmdale, California, which you're familiar with.
I am.
And yeah, we're right down the street from Skunk Works, and so they also they have a brew pub. We don't brew. Excuse me, we don't brew there, but we have a brew pub there in Lancaster, and then we recently acquired a 30 barrel brew house in Santa Clarita. So I basically I do all the brewing in Santa Clarita, and I oversee Santa Clarita and Palmdale as far as scheduling and raw material ordering, basically everything that you can think of as far as production side.
That's kind of how it works in the brewing business, isn't it? Or the brewery business. You end up wearing a lot of hats, don't you?
Yeah. You don't get to wear just one, like anywhere really. Yeah. It's so yeah. So I handle all I work with the sales team, and we get a kind of a production schedule in place as far as what their demand is, and then we produce. We do 60 barrel batches of a lot of things, and then from there we have 19.2 ounce cans, we have 16-ounce cans, we've got some beers in 12-ounce. So from there we break it down to how we're going to can. We own our own canning line, so we can everything in house, and yeah, and we're just keep cranking. I believe we're going to be in. I don't know if this is official, but by the time it knows you're in away from us. Our Marazin's going to be the Oktoberfest beer for Magic Mountain.
Really? Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. The new spot's right on the east side of the 5 from there, so you can see some of the rides from our patio, and
Oh, wow.
it's kind of yeah. We're right there. I drive by it every day, or most days, and yeah. So we're just starting to get some beer in there, and we've got a few other distributors we've just started up with in the last I don't know month to 6 months. So we're picking up steam, and with the sun out now, people are going outside in California. We had all that rain and from New Year's to probably March, and nobody was going outside. I love the rain myself, and but yeah, everybody in LA just kind of hides, like seeing a bird in the rain. You don't usually see them out in the rain. You know what I mean? But they're still out there somewhere, but they're just not. There's not in the rain. So yeah, but yeah, things are good, man. We're picking up steam. Uh, Brewing a lot. You know, we got Great American Beer Festival coming up in a couple months. So I think we've got like 5 weeks before we have to have entries submitted. So I'm brewing a lot for that, and yeah, just it's exciting being with a company that's kind of growing with the growth spurts we're getting. It's kind of a pain in the butt to like as far as purchasing because you got to order cans and they're not really on demand. You know, I got to order cans for a month from now, not for next week. But yeah, it's all good problems.
Well, I mean, that's
So
a different skill set, right? That's a different skill set for being a brewer. That
yeah,
take on the skill set of a manager, right?
yeah, it's a lot of data analyst kind of things and
Yeah.
like forecasting. And it's like, okay, well, we're gonna do this, and the thing is like we've got this new spot, so we've been there almost a year and a half, and so we're starting to get some data, but like with everybody coming out of COVID and everything, things are still wonky. So like 1 year will be this, and then the other year will be this, and so it's hard to figure out where you're really at because you could get 1 month somebody could order all the beer you have, and then next month nobody needs anything. You know, it's it's been a wild ride through COVID and since COVID, but things are getting back to normal. I think this will be the first real, at least in LA, first real summer where everybody's like, we got the full tourists. Like I'm already, the freeways are just a disaster, 24/7. So there's a lot of people out and about, and as it always is every summer here. Um, at least before COVID, and then it died off. But I mean, more tourism. I mean, we're obviously a big tourist spot. More tourism. They're gonna drink more local beer. They're gonna go out for dinner. You have people like that, and so it's always, at least for business, it's good for us. I don't like driving in it, but 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 I do appreciate the positive effects it has on my work. So
Well, I don't know if you know this about me, but I grew up in Southern California.
I remember you telling me about you're kind of a LA area guy, right?
I grew up in Cypress, which is near Anaheim.
Cypress, yeah.
So, but I had an aunt and a lot of cousins in what was in Saugus and Canyon Country that moved to Palmdale.
Okay.
So I am familiar with that area just a little bit, but I'll be honest with you, I haven't been out there since 1988, so it's been a minute.
You're not really missing a whole lot, but not to knock the areas, but I mean, unless you like roller coasters, the Magic Mountain's got like, I haven't been to Magic Mountain in probably 25 years, and they got some crazy stuff. I'm like, wait, people ride on this thing, and it just twisted corkscrew steel in the sky, and I guess people I don't know that I could do that anymore. I don't know if my heart's
funny. I was there in 1985, shortly before I left California. Yeah, it's the last time I was at Magic Mountain.
Oh yeah. I mean, I always had a good time there. I went there a lot when I was a kid, but yeah, I just haven't. Not my thing now, I guess.
So, brewing trends, right? So I'm curious with your thoughts on the matter because I'm in the Midwest more or less in Missouri here, and we've been hearing since or for at least 2 decades now how the craft beer bubble is going to burst. And we keep hearing that every year and year. Somebody, there's some chicken little saying the sky is falling. There's been a few articles lately talking about the decline of craft beer. How do you see it from your neck of the woods?
It's a real thing. Seltzers, the hard seltzers and the RTDs, pre-made cocktails in a can.
Yeah.
Have really taken over. The thing with craft beer is I think this is where we messed up is we just assumed people would always come to beer as far as a preferred alcoholic beverage. And kids these days, I mean, you've seen beer labels. Like beer labels used to be kind of like a state, like presidential, kind of like I don't want to say formal, but kind of fancy pants looking. And now it's like anime, which is fine. It's fine. Like the times change, and that's the thing. I think some people get stuck in. Well, this is what beer should be, and beer's changed for like 5,000 years since whenever the Babylonians or the Mesopotamians or whoever it was that had some grain in a terracotta pot and it rained on it and they drank and caught a buzz. You know what I mean? Like it's always beer's always evolving. So I'm a classic style guy. I like lagers. I like pale ales. I mean, I don't need all the fruit stuff, and I'm interested in trying it just as for like a kind of work related thing, like like okay, let me see what this is about, and see if they really kind of hit what they're did. Like they use what in this? All right, well, like I'll get like tasters just for like research type of thing, but as far as beers I want to produce, I'm more of a classic style guy. I like to get playful, and I'll do some lactose, and I do like we do like this pumpkin pie kind of praline sort of thing that we do in the fall, and I'll have fun, but I won't get too wacky. Like I'm not throwing a box of donuts in my mash tun. I mean, it's like okay, like you're just really just pulling that colored sugar frosting off, and that's what you're pulling. And you got some, like not, I guess, unnatural. I don't know, not to knock on the donut industry, but like they're not using like all organic ingredients. Really, when they make their pink sprinkle little donuts or their I'll eat the hell out of donuts. Don't get me wrong. I love the donuts. But so like I try to get playful, but still keep it based on like malt, yeast, water, hops, center. At least center. The center point is that, and then we throw some flavors in or something. But
we're not asking the donut industry to make a beer flavored donut either, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So the brewery I work for, Banter, it's simply he has a similar outlook to you. He has certain styles that he enjoys doing, but he's not afraid to get out of the box. So when he does something he's not familiar with, he'll kind of test it on some of the regulars. Say, hey, what do you think of this?
Nice. Yeah, and that's what that's a smart way to go about it. We have like a 1-barrel pilot system, but I'm so busy. I'm like, I'm not gonna mess with this. So I have my 10-barrel facility. I'll try stuff out on, but I've done a lot of stuff on the fly on my 30, and it's fine. Like I have everything kind of dialed in, both brew houses, so I can do one here, I can do one there, and my boss was a little apprehensive at first. So you're just doing right here on the 30. I'm like, I got it, buddy. It doesn't matter. The size is like that's where people get a little like tripped out on or in their head. And like you could be doing, I do 30 barrel. You could do 300 barrel. Like it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? You got your grain ratios, and you got this, and you got this, and I mean, there's some differences, obviously, but like. Other than that, it's the same as when I was doing 5-gallon batches back when I first met you, like 15, 20 years ago.
So, it's been a while, hasn't it?
What's that?
It's been a while. I was trying to think.
Oh, yeah. It's probably been about like 20 years. I mean, doing the commercial thing for almost 11 now, and then I was homebrewing for about 8.
Before you did that, too.
Yeah. It was. You were one of the first people I remember meeting on Facebook.
Yeah.
That was like into the beer thing. So
that's why. Yeah, I didn't think about that. God, it's been a minute. Yeah.
a couple of decades, and we interact on each other's posts here and there and stuff. But like, it's cool that we're still able to have a conversation like this.
Yeah.
And just sit down, drink a beer, and kind of shoot the bull. Yeah, it's awesome. But time goes by fast. I was thinking about. I was telling somebody like that I had this talk with you going on today, and they're all, how long ago did you meet this guy? And I was like, oh, damn, it's probably been almost 20 years, like, which is wild. You know what I mean? For it never having actually we've never actually met in the flesh.
See, that's so, but we have a mutual friend, right?
Yeah, we do. Yeah. And you come from like one of the areas where like I work and
about Stuart, we've got a mutual house guest.
Oh, Stuart, yeah. The international couch surfer.
That's right.
We love you, Stu. Yeah. Come back out to Cali, buddy. I'll get you another burrito. Yeah, it's wild, like how you can have these. This is where social media like kind of trips me out because like you and me go back almost a couple decades, and well, probably about 15 years or so, 16, 17, something like that. But like that's a long time, and like we've never met, like we've never like physically crossed paths. But we still intermittently interact enough that, like, 15, 17 years later, here we are drinking beer and talking on the interwebs. And it's cool the way the beer, that really seems to only happen in beer. I mean, maybe it happens in other stuff, and I'm not aware of it. But, yeah, it's pretty awesome.
You hear a lot of knocks about social media, but I mean, if it wasn't for Facebook and other social media, there are folks I would have never met.
100%. Yeah, we would have never met.
We have a mutual house guest.
Yeah, so I would have never met Stuart. I would have never met like Tom Shipman or Jill. Jill Mayfield. Like, there's a lot of all those. Was it the Beer Drinker United? All those original people back then, like that was 2012, 2013 or something like that.
A lot going on there, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was cool. Like I had Tom Shipman come out. He stayed at my place. We went to a beer fest, and Jill and Stuart and I all went to San Diego and had a good night of beer there, and yeah, it was cool. Like. Social media is kind of a cesspool, but
it can be. But
it can be. But if there's also the people that you actually like interact with and connect with, and I mean, look at us.
That's funny, yeah. It is interesting, though, yeah. So, how long have you been with this current company?
It'll be 3 years in September.
3 years.
Yeah. So when I first came on, they just had the 10-barrel spot, and then and the restaurant, and then we got about a year later we got the 30, and so it's been interesting. I've never had to juggle 2 spots before and try to intermingle the beers so we have what we need at all times, and it's an interesting challenge. It's like an extra ball thrown in while you're juggling kind of thing. You can juggle 3 here, try 4 or something like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's cool. I have a good staff. My crew's good. They busted their butts. Um, Ownership's solid. Our sales team's doing good. We're doing what we can. We're not the biggest name in LA by any means, because we're North County. But we're starting to get in there and in LA proper a bit more on the volume and spreading stuff out. So that's good. Um, yeah, things are good.
Well, I want to mention a couple comments here. We have a mutual friend of ours, Eric Fraunfelter, has dropped or dropped a few comments. He says, "Cheers, guys." He says, "Voodoo Donut Maple Ale always seemed like an odd concept to me. Uh, as long as you do the math, you can brew any size batch." And he says, I would have never had met Tom without YouTube originally. So
Oh, nice.
you meet a lot of folks through social media.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. What's happening, Eric? Yeah. I mean, your grain bill is your grain bill, whether you're doing 5 gallon or 5,000. I mean, your brew house functions might be different, but your basic the recipe as far as grain is gonna be the same. Uh, yeah, it's fun. Like, who cares? If it doesn't come out good, we'll just dump it, and the owner will have a heart attack, but he'll get over it. He'll survive. He'll be all right. Well, yeah. Luckily for me, I haven't had to do that. But yeah. Knock on wood. But yeah.
Found some wood there. But have you found that sometimes that beers that might not be your favorite have been real popular?
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't enjoy drinking hazies at all. Me personally, I don't knock like people that drink hazies or hazies in general. It's just not for me. I like the low ABV and the light stuff. So I'm just like a lager. What you got? Like a lager, light lager. That's Pilsner. That's where I reside.
I like a big ABV. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I do like a big.
You've always been in that big, that barrel age and that. Yeah, I mean, I enjoy those, like especially when it's like wintertime. But yeah, I just don't. Oh, I just can't. Oh man, I enjoy like NA beers. You know what I mean? Like I'll drink an NA beer and have like no problem with it. I just like the beer flavor. I don't necessarily need the booze part.
Gotcha.
But I do. I mean, there are times I do like the booze part. So.
Well, it's really about the booze. It's about the flavor, right? So barley wine gives you certain flavor that a low ABV beer isn't going to give you. It's not necessarily about the ABV content. It's about the flavor this beer has to offer.
Exactly. Yeah, that's more. I'm more into the sensory effect than the like the blood alcohol level effect. Like, to be honest.
See, here's my thing. I'm lucky. I married my designated driver.
I just, if I drink a lot, I bounce like a half inflated rubber ball, and I just splat, and I don't bounce back. Like I've learned back in like the early years when I first met you was a way different story, but yeah, nowadays I'll have a few lagers or a couple pilsners, and maybe I'll venture into 6.5% ABV if I'm feeling spicy, But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I have to do QC on all my stuff, so we still do like triple IPA. I got like we do a couple like 10.5, 11%ers. So I still have to do I'm like, okay, yeah, this is good. And I'm like, ooh, it's hot. Is anybody hot in here? It'll be like 50 degrees in like December, you know what I mean? And I'm like,
Funny.
kind of sweaty. Like, I'm gonna go in the walk-in for a second. And they're like, dude, like, yeah, I get made fun of, but
Oh,
but I enjoy the flavors of it. You know what I mean? And the alcohols themselves can produce a lot of they can produce some body and some flavor kind of tweaks, nuances, depending on how it's fermented. So I do enjoy like in little like 2 ounce. Like I don't even need 4 ounce tasters. They give me a 2 ounce. Just fill that thing halfway, and I get laughed at. But I'm like, that's all I need. Like honestly, please. But yeah, I mean, as a professional brewer, it's not doesn't matter what you like. I'm not here to. I mean, I get to design recipes, so I get more say than a lot. But you're there to produce the beer that needs to be produced.
yeah.
You're not there to produce like, well, these beers suck. Well, hazies suck. Well, that's great, but like we sell a lot of hazies, and that's what actually funds the money for your paycheck that you get. So
Yeah,
let's make some hazies. You know what I mean? Like I make seltzers. I make seltzers now. I'm like, I don't want to make seltzers, but it's like easy as hell. It's just water and sugar, and you just pasteurize it, and send it on its way, and then there you go, boom, there's your seltzer.
There's profits in the seltzers, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, depending on how you do it, but like, I mean, it doesn't. It's just dextrose and water, and you gotta deaerate it and kind of pasteurize it. They got seltzer specific yeast now that'll ferment it in like 3 days, and then we run ours through some activated carbon charcoal filters through a plate filter, but we kind of don't really need to, but we just do it just to neutralize anything that's there, and it just tastes like water, but it tastes weird. Like this is like it looks like it looks like crystal clear water, and you drink it, and you're like, this is water, but it's kind of there's something to it. Yeah, it's like 15%.
No, we do one. It's only about 5%, but it's called Busted Blueberry, where he uses fresh blueberries.
Oh, nice. See, I like the fresh fruit approach.
Yeah.
We basically do like a 10. We do like a 10% up thing, and then we dilute it down because we do 5% like flavored ones.
Oh, gotcha.
Then we do like 10%. We got the slushy machines at one of our spots now, so we do the seltzer slurpee thing.
Yeah.
I don't have to deal with it, but apparently it sells like hotcakes. Again, like I don't want to drink it, but if it sells, like I mean, this is a business after all. You know what I mean?
Well,
and I do have to like. I can't just stick to my moral beer guns and be like, we're not doing any of this. The boss is like, well, we actually are, but you're bye. You can't do that. Like it just doesn't work. If you're not the owner, it doesn't work.
No.
So,
well, I'm guessing you're about a decade younger than I am, but I've had this conversation with folks that we're not the demographic anymore. People like me, I'm 58 years old, and it's old guys that were there, back in the 80s. We seem to still think that we control things. We do not. We are no longer the demographic.
My demographic doesn't even control things anymore. It's the 20-somethings and all the smoothie sour stuff. Yeah, it's all that like that smoothie sours, and there's that
slushies. They like the slushies.
Yeah, there's those cans that explode from that one brewery, and it's all they said their stuff was 11%, and it was like 4.3, or I don't want to say who I think. I know who it was now that I think about it, but I would call them out. But yeah, like I mean that's fine, like. But like those kids are so flippant. Like once the new shiny thing comes around, they're gonna ditch all that. and you're not making any money in that. With like, I know the cost of ingredients, and unless you're selling it for like 25, $30 a 4 pack, you're not making much
Yeah.
with the labor and the raw materials. So I mean, everybody, hey, do your guys' thing, and the more people that do the weird stuff, it's because the beer, you've been around long enough. Beer styles are cyclical, and so like the '90s, it was all classics, and then all of a sudden, the 2000s come, and it was all these San Diego Bitter Bomb IPAs,
Yeah.
and everybody's doing these 120, 150. How many IBUs can I get in an IPA kind of thing? But because those beers are so bitter, that begat the hazy thing
Yeah.
because people wanted the hop flavor, but they didn't want the bitterness. So that's where the white IPAs and Widmer was doing hoppy pyramid F back in like '98, I think, or something. So I mean, Pyramid is really the OG hazy people. They're doing like a hoppy Hefeweizen,
Okay.
and my dates might be a little off, but yeah, like everyone got over the bitterness and wanted the hop flavor, but not the bitter bite. So the hazies came in, and now lagers are coming back around because people just want people's palates get tired. You get palate fatigue, uh, and at some point, everybody's like, you just got like a nice like chill cold beer. Can I just get a cold beer? And they just want a beer. You know what I mean? And that's where the lagers come in. And we've seen, at least in SoCal and LA area, like a huge spike in lager sales. We put lagers on and they just fly. They just go. Um, so I think everybody's gonna. We had the chicken wing Buffalo Ranch IPAs and the donuts and all these weird like kind of like in your brain it's absurd, but like people made these things. There was like the Oscar Mayer like
Oh, yeah.
mustard IPA or bologna IPA or I don't know. Like there's been a lot of weird stuff going on, but all that weirdness is gonna like as people get older, they're just gonna be like, can I just get a beer?
Yeah.
I just want to. I just can. You got a lager, perfect. I just want a beer, and it's just a beer. You got some malt, a little bit of hop. Everything's balanced. Nothing's like just blasting you in the face because you get tired after a while. You know what I mean? And so I'm not really sweating it. I just gotta like. There's a definite beer bubble burst that's already happened in LA. I think we've lost almost 10. I think in the last 18 months,
Wow. That's a lot.
which is it's almost double digits. It's almost
How many have you
10%.
gained?
You know, huh?
How many have you gained?
We've gained a bunch. So I mean, we like the no like
Yeah,
if
break
you.
even, or is it a loss?
But the thing is that with COVID and stuff, people got locked up. Like it takes a year or two to get everything going for a brewery from scratch. You got to start the ABC stuff, and you get this, you get that, and you got to do everything in a certain order. And it can be like 2 years is like a good. If you can get it done in 2 years, that's pretty impressive. Uh, and and just it's just city county regulations, ABC, right? Oh, you didn't fill this form out right, you didn't do this right. Like it's crazy. uh so a lot of people are go gung-ho on it, maybe 3-4 years ago, but they're still trying to get open. Maybe they're not open yet, and they got to go through the COVID thing. We've got a few places that opened during COVID out here, and it's interesting to hear how like they're like we're brand new, nobody knows who we are, and nobody can come to our brewery because it's COVID. So like they have to buy beer to go, but they don't know us like at all. So like you're just like, you want to buy a 4-pack of beer, like, and but the people they're trying to sell to have no, like they're like, I don't know what your beer's like. Can I get a taster? No, I can't do. We can't do any of that. Like you can buy cans. Eh. So it's interesting to hear, like, especially out here where LA was pretty adamant and pretty strong fisted on the masking and we didn't have stuff on prem for a long time, and then they gave us this al fresco thing for a while, and it was wild. Like that, my last place just closed because of that. They're like, we're not gonna. We were in the middle of Burbank where all the studios are, and when the studios went all work to home, they're like, it was a ghost town. So like they closed us down. They had me brew for probably 3-6 months, but the restaurant was dead. It was just me going in this dead brew pub, and I'd make beer, and once a week some guy would show up in the van and pick up the beer, and I'd be like, hey, what's it like out there? Like, I'm on a desert island, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, it was wild. Like it was me and my dog, and like nobody was there, and nobody's driving around, and I talked to the guy at the gas station next door once in a while. I'm like, it was yeah. You kind of felt like the loneliness, and like I said, this guy, poor guy, would pick up beer, and I'd be like, "What's happening? What's going on at the other spots?" And he's like, "I don't know, man. I'm just." You got the kegs? I'm like, "Oh yeah, here," and then he'd leave. Uh, but they're doing good. Like I got some people. They're probably about a 10-minute walk from my apartment here, called Lawless, and awesome people, and they make awesome beer. Some like it. Me and my dog walk down there. It's like 10-minute walk. Uh, yeah, it's cool, man. The North County, like I'm still in North Hollywood, but like the Burbank, North Hollywood, Glendale, Studio City, like that kind of area is like we're getting more breweries, and they're doing good stuff. North County's still kind of North County. I mean, there's good people up there, but it's a little more sparse. But the spillover from LA proper's kind of gone over the ridge and into Burbank and North Hollywood. So that's cool, and it'll keep going north, and which is great for everybody. You know what I mean?
Yep. So I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you your thoughts on Anchor.
Anchor, I mean, it's not a shock. It's sad. It's very sad. I mean, 127-year-old, 130-year-old independent brewery in America, when, I mean, you're talking through prohibition and stuff, when alcohol got consolidated massively. And that's where you really lost a lot of regional brands to Budweiser, Miller. Those guys really kind of jumped up big in those days, where you used to have everyone used to have regional. I'd love to go back to where everyone had a regional beer, and there wasn't really just this beer that was whitewashed on.
At least every city had at least one brewery just for them, right? Every neighborhood had a brewery.
Yeah, and if you go to Europe, any country in Europe, pick a country. You go to Germany, Bavaria's gonna tell you they got the best beer, but Bamberg's gonna tell you they got the best, and Dortmund's gonna say this, and Munich's gonna say this, and Cologne, Cologne's gonna want you drink Kolsch all day, and so that's really where I got into beer, as far as like getting away from just the grocery store shit.
Yeah.
Is I so in my I was 19. I dropped out of college. I went on tour with like punk rock ska bands. Um, in '96, we went to Europe with this band called Voodoo Glow Skulls, with a band from Riverside, California, where I'm from. And I turned 21 in Europe, which was very anticlimactic because it was like we did like the 6 or 8 week tour out there, and like halfway through I turned 21, but the whole time there I've been drinking. Like, oh yeah, you're 18, it's fine. Like, then nobody even ID'd me, and I'm 21, and they're over there like, we don't give a shit, who cares? But so I didn't get the usual like 21-year-old thing, you know what I mean?
That's funny. Oh my
Yeah. I mean, it was rad because everyone was be like, "Oh, our beer," and I'm like, "Oh, we just have like 3 brands." You know what I mean? I mean, we had Lucky Lager and like King Cobra and all like Mickey's, all that shit. But like, if you think nationally, it was like Bud, Miller, Coors, like
yeah.
in the '90s, and I'm like, this is really interesting that these guys have, and Germany's like, it's nothing compared to the U.S. like square footage or acreage. Like, I'm like, these guys small and these guys have all this beer. You know what I mean? So that really got me into trying different beers. I remember we got laughed at in Belgium because we were drinking Craig. That and they told us it was ladies' beer. And we were at we had a show. We went to like some club bar thing, and the kids made fun of us. Like, that's the ladies' beer, and we're like, huh? This is delicious. I'm like, I don't know, but this is we didn't have sour beers at that point, really. Or at least we hadn't experienced them. But yeah, it was rad, man. Everything kind of evolved, and now like I'm just riding this whole weird beer thing out. The bubbles burst. There's gonna be a lot of closures. There's a lot of places that shouldn't have opened to begin with.
An ending.
Yeah, I mean the market's gonna equalize itself out. I mean, there's a lot of people that maybe they want to do good, but like it's a weird business, and not everybody. Even though you might have been an entrepreneur in this or that, like your brain might not be cohesive with the way that this business is, because it's just a weird business.
It is.
Yeah, it's very odd. You know what I mean? Like we do all this.
That, since 2020, we've had a few closed, but then we've had as many open up as closed, so it kind of broke even.
Yeah, which is wild. But that's a lot. Again, that's back to like people thinking, they're trying to open 2-3 years ago, and they're like, "Oh, things are good." Now they're like, "Oh shit." It'd be scary to open a brewery up right now.
Yeah.
To be fair, I mean, you're seeing a lot of retraction. You're seeing, because of inflation, everybody kind of, I don't want to say turns it down a notch, but kind of like downgrades what they'll drink. And maybe before they were getting 4-packs of craft beer, but now they're like, hey, we'll just get a 12-pack of Coors, or we'll get a 12-pack of Bud, or Pabst, or whatever, because
buying less.
Well, it's I mean, everything, prices have gone up in every aspect of life. So I mean, people are gonna upgrade and downgrade in certain areas, regardless. And beer is kind of a superfluous. I mean, you don't need beer. Like, it's not like toilet paper or food. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta. I mean, I'll be homeless if you guys don't buy beer. But like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like. But beer isn't like an essential thing. So people. Like, yeah. I used to buy this. Now it's like, ooh, like money's tight. Everything's expensive. I'm still making the same amount. I'm gonna just get an 18 rack of Coors Light or something. And I don't blame people. You know what I mean? Well, a lot of brewers end up doing that. We don't just get like carte blanche on beer inventory. So like, we have a disc golf league out here, a bunch of brewers, and me started, and like a lot of guys are bringing Coors, Modelo's, like. It's we don't just get to like take beer home whenever we want and like however much we want. Like it doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? I just signed off for this 4-pack of this that I brought. I'm like, I got this webcast thing I'm doing, and like just put it under marketing. Just put it. It's fine. Like, okay, but yeah, which is fair. Like, I mean. And one end, you get free marketing if people take you to, like, they go to a birthday party or they go to a barbecue and, like, hey, I got this beer. I work for this spot. And, oh, this is good. Like, who is this? Like, that's what you want. But at the same time, you got to, like, sell some of it you've already got all this money invested in the cans and the labels and the beer itself and the labor. So, it's, excuse me, it's like, I was a home brewer before, and it was a kind of a shock. And I was like, oh, I have to actually think about like what it costs to like do this stuff. And I'm like, I never had to do this. When I was home brewing, I was like, whatever, who cares? It was 5 gallons. Well, $40, you know what I mean, or whatever. But
that kind of figure the cost coefficient, right?
Yeah. But now, on my 30, I can drop $8,000 in materials. So it's like, yeah, I'm like, okay, this makes sense. Like, yeah, there is a business to be had. As much as I try to ignore the business side, there is a business side that you have to address and deal with. I just like making beer and like, let's make some good beer and make beer that people want. But at the same time, the company has to make money. I mean, that's the reality. That's just the reality of life. So getting over that as a home brewer is not everyone does as good. Some people can get over it. Some people, I know people that are like, I don't want to deal with this. Like, it's too much business, which I get, Yeah, you have to go commercial. You have to give up a little bit of the magic.
Yep.
And just like, okay, this is like an actual like nose to the grindstone business. Like, we're talking dollars and cents. We want this. They're analyzing. And it's smart to do that. Any business is smart to do that. So you're analyzing costs. You're analyzing this, efficiencies and stuff like that, and yeah, I mean, so you gotta like deal with it. And, there's beers I want to do, and they're like, yeah, we're not doing that right now. I'm like, all right, and I don't. You can't. There's no reason to kick and scream over it. It's a business. So until I own it, then I'll be.
There you go.
I'll be, iron fisted, and we're gonna do it my way.
Well, I think
everybody
don't understand is it is a business. It's not about the art, right? Us beer geeks want to look at beer as this mystical, magical thing. It's all about the art, but it is a business. They've got to make money.
Yeah, 100%. And that's where the brewers kind of, like, after designing this beer, and I'm in LA. We've got a lot of world-class. Dozens of world-class breweries between LA and Orange County. We got Ventura, like medal winning, like annually they win a medal every year kind of brewery type thing. So you gotta bring your A game, but at the same time you gotta be cost effective.
Yep.
Which is why we kind of tend toward, we do hazies and stuff, but we don't make it our focal point because there's not a lot of money in the hazy thing. They're low yield and high cost. So, now there's there's people that have like centrifuges and stuff, and I mean, you can centrifuge a hazy to like the haze level you want, and send it on to its place, and squeeze more out. But yeah, it's really you just the cost factor has to be in your brain unless the boss says go for broke. And my boss told me that once, and I was like, okay. And so yeah, we don't really make that beer too often.
Can you put it in writing so I don't get my ass chewed later?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, can I get you saw this? You heard him say this, right? Like, yeah. So yeah, so I mean, but you have to, but that's the game. I mean, and if you think about it, really, like even a 5-star restaurant, like they're considering costs. Absolutely, their margins even less than ours. You know what I mean? So, but they're still trying to put out a high quality product. So how do you do that? So there's ways to do it. You just have to not be. You can't die on hills, or you will die on some hill, and then everything will just pass you by when it gets to the next hill. You know what I mean? Like you have to be very adaptive and willing to change stuff. Like I don't like hazies. Brewing them sucks. Like it's a big pain in the butt, to be honest. But they sell well. Okay, and I mean that's my job is to make the company money. So what's selling? Okay, I'll make more of that. If it was just me, it'd be all pales, IPAs, and lagers. And I think that would crush, but but it's not. I don't know the spot. So I'm just the guy. I just make the liquids. So I have to make what sells, and we look at reports and analytics, and yeah, it's a whole thing. I mean, it's not just what do you feel like making this week. It's not that way at all. Which I think a lot of home brewers kind of think it is, especially if you're in production. If you're a brew pub, you can kind of get away with just screwing around. But if you're a production spot, you need like steady Eddie selling beers that float all the other stuff you're trying to do. And if you don't have that, it's a struggle.
Yeah. Well, I know when I was working sales for Saddlebach from 2016 to 2018, they'd hire a lot of folks to help the brewing process. They hire these brewers who think they were actually going to be able to brew and find out that most of their day was cleaning tanks and kegs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
with these great home brewers, right? These home brewers think I'm going to brew beer every day, and they spend 8 hours cleaning tanks and kegs. Some of these guys will last like 2 hours.
Oh, people go to school at like UC Davis, Siebel, like they'll go to brewing schools and they'll be like, okay, so I'm ready to be the head brewer, and they're like, no, you're not, and you're on the keg line. Like, beer has a very huge theoretic versus practical differential in my opinion. And you can have all that book knowledge, but until you've got this tank that's like under whatever PSI and things can pop out and just rip your skull off, like it's a different beast. You know what I mean? I mean they're on the school side. I'm not knocking the school thing. By all means, it's good, but like, okay, well, I'm in Florida where it's 80% humidity and 105 out, and this is going to happen. Well, I'm in Alaska and it's whatever, the opposite, or, you know what I mean? So there's always like might know the basic physics and sciences of how beer is made and how to do it, but you don't know like you've never turned a valve. You haven't opened a valve. You haven't closed the valve. You haven't pressurized the tank. You haven't done this. And that's a whole thing unto itself. And that they can't teach you because, I mean, they can teach you the basics, but every setup's different. Well, I learned this way. Well, we don't have that. We do it this way. And you're like, okay, well, I guess, F what I learned, and here I go. I gotta learn it this way now. So I mean, once you've been doing it for 5-10 years, you should be. I mean,
but a lot of them don't seem to understand the sanitation.
Yeah,
going through school.
Oh yeah. Well, a lot. There's. I know a lot of people that have to rush stuff through, and then you can tell it's rushed once they package it, and to me, like diacetyl is like, if you're a professional brewer, you should never have a diacetyl beer.
Never.
That's just Russian shit. Like, just let's sit another day, 2 days. Like, if that screws everything up, then you didn't plan it right on the front side. You know what I mean? Like, you should have brewed it earlier and let it, like, because the beer doesn't care. Beer's ready when it's ready. It could be ready on Christmas Eve. Could be ready on Christmas Day. Could be ready New Year's Day, Thanksgiving. Like, it doesn't matter. Beer doesn't care what day it is.
That's exactly.
Like, is it a holiday? Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you need to keg me today. You know what I mean? Like, I've worked every major American holiday a number of times, and it's because beer doesn't care. And after the holiday, okay, we need that beer. So, like, I give my guys a day off here and there, and I'll like, you guys go take the day, I'll go work. And sometimes they're working, I'll take a day, just depending. But, yeah, beer doesn't care. Whose birthday it is? Could be baby Jesus' birthday. It's like, that's happy birthday, Jesus. I'm ready. Carb me, keg me, package me, put me in the cans. I gotta go. I got places to be. I don't mean that weird on any religious fronts, but like, yeah. Beer just doesn't care.
So, any final words for our show tonight, Herbs?
Oh no, man! It was great talking to you.
You too.
Like, I think we've spoken. I think I've heard your voice talk to me a few times, but it's been a while. Yeah, it's good to see you still doing your thing, man. And yeah, it's awesome. Like, people from years and years, like, maybe one day we'll actually physically have beer together. That'd be great. That'd be great. So let me know. Brewer in SoCal.
That would be awesome. Hey, I want to thank my friend Herbs for joining me today. I am Tom, the Beer Whisperer, Beer Evangelist, prolific beer drinker, purveyor wisdom, and all around good guy. Thanks. Hey, Herb, don't drop off. I'm going to talk to you a little bit after the show ends.
Okay.